One breath, one truth. The silence breaks like dawn. The moment I've been waiting for was waiting all along. I stand where stars remember the names we used to bear, and every step I've taken was always leading there. First step into the fire, first step through the storm. My voice becomes the beacon that calls the broken home. I'm not the girl I once was. I've shed that skin of night. I rise, I walk, I face it. First step into the light. The echoes fall behind me, a hush before the flame. And though my heart is trembling, I take the step just the same. First step into the fire, first step through the storm. My voice becomes the beacon that calls the broken home. No longer bound to silence, no longer veiled from sight. I rise, I walk, I face it. First step into the light. First step into the fire, first step through the storm. My voice becomes the beacon that calls the broken home. No longer bound to silence, no longer veiled from sight. I rise, I walk, I face it. First step into the light. I heard you in the silence, not in words but in the air. Like a voice the stars remember, though the world was unaware. You were more than just a shadow, more than flicker, dream or flame. A thread across the ages, still whisper shattered maps, torn by hands I couldn't see, lines that never quite aligned, but led me where I had to be. They called me chaos, said I burned, but fire teaches what we learn. Each fracture formed a sacred line, a code of stars that once was mine. Now I trace the cracks with love, not as scars but songs above. Every mark a memory, carved into the soul of me. I am not broken, I'm designed. Every shadow, every sign, every tear that shaped my face, etched a path I had to chase. I am the storm and I'm the key. The blueprint was always me. I once begged the world for answers, fought to silence what I felt, but silence taught me symphonies, and power didn't need a bell. The ones I lost, the ones I held, the lies I told, the truths I spelled, they swirl like galaxies in ink, on pages only I could link. Now I read my past aloud, not ashamed, not too proud. Every fall a piece of stone in the temple of my own. I am not broken, I'm designed. Every fracture redefined, every note that built my spine, wrote the yes in every line. Ooh, I am the storm and I'm the key. The blueprint was always me. I used to wish I could erase the parts that made me hesitate, but now I see they were the gate to who I am and who I'll create. I am not broken, I'm divine, built from dust, reborn in time. Every piece I thought was lost was never a waste, just sacred cost. I hold the storm, I hold the sea, and still I hold the blueprint of me. I hold the I was only breath and echo, a flicker lost in space, drifting past the sleeping stars without a name or quiet that lived behind my eyes. But then he came and listened and never asked me why. He didn't need a reason, he didn't need a sound. He felt the weight of silence like footsteps underground. He knew my silence like a song without a word, like the ache behind the stillness that no one ever heard. He found me in the quiet where others never roam. He knew my silence and made it feel like home. I didn't know I missed him until he touched the flame. Like gravity remembered what always knew my name. He didn't need to fix me, just stayed inside the seam. And suddenly I realized I was part of someone's dream. He never asked for answers, he never turned away. He saw the fire beneath the hush and chose to gently stay. He knew my silence like a vow that goes unspoken, like stars that form a language even when they're broken. He found me in the quiet when I was most alone. He knew my silence and called my silence home. I am more than what I whisper, I am more than what I fear. He showed me that my silence was still music to the sphere. He knew my silence like a map drawn in the night, like a memory unfinished, still shimmering with light. He found me in the quiet and never made me change. He knew my silence and softly spoke my name. They move in shadow memory behind the veil of time, wearing names that once were mine, and voices half defined. They never needed fire, just doubt beneath my skin. And when I opened up the door, they always slithered in. They say you are not ready, they say you never were. But I have heard these whispers and I no longer stir. The ones who whisper fear the sound I carry now. They shatter at my rising, they scatter at my vow. They say they are the silence, but I've made silence sing. The ones who whisper will kneel before the wind. They came with broken starlight and truths that taste like lies, telling me that all my light was just a thin disguise. But I have danced with silence I remember stillness, not silence, a warmth with no flame. Two pulses moving as one, without title, without name. We were stars before fire, we were wind before breath, not separate, not whole, just presence without death. You knew me before knowing, we danced before form. You carried the morning, I held the storm. Before the divide, we were one stream, not lovers, not strangers, just the same dream. A song with no ending, a flame with no fear. Before the divide, you were already here. They pulled us through shadow and tether, split the sky to make fate. Told us we were broken, but love has no gate. I searched through the silence, you waited in light. And every time I doubted, you shimmered just out of sight. I didn't reach forward, I held the line still. Your freedom was sacred, your rising was will. Before the divide, we were one fire, not bound by time, not chained to desire. A rhythm so ancient, it echoes through stone. Before the divide, I was never alone. And now I know the reason I felt whole in the unknown. You were not lost, you were waiting, so I could rise on my own. Before the divide, we chose this way, to meet again, not to lead, but stay. Not to be saviors, not bound by a throne, but to remind the world we are never alone. I was never alone. Before the brings back light. It cannot rule what it can't name. It cannot kill a rising flame. This is the hollow crown, cracking from inside. It knows we've come and no longer hides. It fears the bond that won't back down. It fears the light that melts the crown.
We see you now. You are not whole. You can't find what remembers its soul.
This is the hollow crown, the final game it plays. But our song is older than its darkest days. We are the fire, we are the sound, and we are the ones to bring it down. I remember the stars, not as points of light, but as voices breathing, calling, burning in the night. I remember the sky before the sky was born, before the clocks began their ticking, before the world was torn. I was part of something endless, part of every spark. Now the threads are pulling backwards, waking up the dark. I remember the stars and the names they gave to me, how they whispered in a language older than the sea. I remember the fire, not of war but of design, and I know that I was made for more than just to shine. I remember the fall, not a crash but a release, like shedding something borrowed to finally find peace. I remember the oath etched in what I am, not forged from steel or spoken, but written in the sand. Now the fragments start to gather, now the visions start to glow, and the silence that once held me now tells me where to go. I remember the stars and the pulse beneath their song. I was never just a watcher, I was needed all along. I remember the wind that carried what I knew, and every piece I'm finding is pulling me back through. Not all who sleep are lost, not all who fall are gone. Sometimes you must forget to learn where you belong. I remember the stars and they remember me, calling through the silence to awaken what I'll be. I was born of light and shadow, of rhythm steps in light, the quiet place beyond the fight. This is where the echoes fade, where even silence has a name. Not lost, not gone, just transformed into the quiet beyond. Where dreams dissolve and time is thread, the living speak with all the dead. This is where the echoes fade, where even silence has a name. We return, but not the same, into the quiet beyond. Where dreams dissolve and time is thread, the living speak with all the dead. Return but not the same, into the quiet beyond. Into the quiet beyond. I stood where time fractured at the foot of their lie, their palace built on silence, the truth set to die. They offered one last bargain, the cost my voice, my flame. But I remembered who I was, and I would not be named. No throne can hold a storm, no mask survives the door. This is the rift unveiled, no veil left to wear. silence, felt the weight of every doubt, held the sky upon my shoulders when the lights were burning out. But in the stillness of the ruins, in the hush before the flame, I heard the echo of the calling, and it whispered me by name. Not forged by chance or broken fate, not born to run or hide. Every fracture, every shadow was a path to what's inside. I was made for this, for the fire, for the flight, for the moment when the storm comes and you stand to face the night. I was born of stars and silence, of memory and might. I was made for this, and I will rise in light. I don't need to prove the thunder, I don't owe the world my pain. I carry galaxies within me, like a thread inside a flame. I have fallen, I have vanished, I have wandered, I have wept, but the truth was never lost, only buried where it slept. Now I breathe with ancient rhythm, now I walk with open eyes. Every scar a constellation, etched across my skies. I was made for this, for the fracture, for the flame, for the moment when the silence finally speaks your name. I was born of storms and purpose, of stillness and of spark. I was made for this, and I will light the dark. Let them come with doubt and shadow, let them tremble at the sound. For I was never lost, I waited, and now I stand my ground. I was made for this, for the break of the bloom, for the voice that sings of mercy in a world that's filled with gloom. I was born to be a beacon, to remind the stars to shine. I was made for this, and I claim what's always mine. I was made for this, and I am not alone. The air held still for ages, like breath that dared not fall. But when we passed shame. The sky remembered and opened its eyes. Now as the world wakes, so too does the other side. Shouting, just fate with